Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke, joined by the boss, Saul Bookman, with some very tasty chips behind you, Saul. Those chips look very good. Where are they from?
You got some Slim Jims right here, too. Look at that.
Ooh, nice.
Those bad boys. These are all from the best convenience store in the country, Circle K. Get in the inner circle.
You know what would be very nice to do? Wash it down with a little Circle K as well, Saul Bookman. I'm just saying. By the way, how are our inner circle hats? Are we working on these?
I am working on them. I've passed the word to Max.
All right.
Max is listen, he's the kind of a control freak. He wants to be the one that speaks with the partners. He wants me to stay out of the way, and he wants to be the one that wheels his business.
All right,
but typically I give him a little leeway, but there's a deadline. And if I don't get that shit before the deadline, then Saul kicks it up into gear himself.
Because I saw another inner circle hat today. This is the second inner circle hat that I saw on Circle K, the one on 6th, and I saw the one on Oracle. So there's two inner circle hats. I am not wearing one of these inner circle hats. That makes me very displeased. We will get to that later on.
Okay.
Later on. All right. We got a lot to get to this show with the boss. We're going to talk some Arizona early entry candidates, some fake news. There's some interesting news that came out. Brent Brennan adding things this spring game. But first, everybody, as I'm sure you saw that Caleb Love is not officially in the NBA draft early entry. Now, his agent, Mark Bartelstein, came out and said that they are looking to fix that clerical issue, meaning that might have messed something up right there. But and then after that, I said it's 50-50. He's going to come back. Saul, I say don't let him into the NBA draft. Let him come back to the U of A. What say you?
I say give him his opportunity to see what he can do at the NBA draft. And if he gets good, if he gets good feedback, then go. And if he doesn't, then come back. It's a win-win for us either way. He goes pro as long as he feels comfortable. He's going to get drafted. Then I'm cool with it. But I do feel like there's too many things for him to work on to be a surefire first or second round pick. I would say second round pick at this point. And coming back to school can't hurt him at all. So why not do that? Come back, excel, work on your craft, improve your stock. And we've seen this before. We've mentioned some of the horror tales or whatever with other U of A prospects that have entered the draft far too early or in between positions or hadn't. Listen, if you don't have one discernible skill set and you're going to enter the draft, you are playing Russian roulette. Because NBA teams need to know that they can at least count on you for one specific thing that they might need. And if you don't have that, what else are you providing? You're just you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And that's usually not a good fit for the NBA.
But one thing about it, though, that is very enticing. And back in the day, all these kids were looking, if they're not NBA players, they're looking to go they're looking to go overseas and start getting paid. It's much, much different, though, now. If I can be getting $300,000 or $400,000, wink, wink, if you come back to the U of A and play another year, that's where things change. And again, the portal guys, I say take advantage of that 5th year. Way too often people are like, man, I want to get out of college. I say that's wrong. I say, Saul Bookman, come back to college, make good money. Let us talk about you for another year and continue to improve your game.
Agreed. Listen, I mean, most of the reason why these guys jump to the NBA is because they want to make some money. They want to take care of their families. They want to improve their own status, and you can't blame them for that. But now you have the opportunity to do that while you're in college. And listen, college is far. I mean, well, let me say some colleges are far more stress-free than going to the NBA. U of A is not one of them. There's a high expectation at the University of Arizona to perform at a high level. So it's about the same as the pressure that, Suns players would probably feel up here in the Valley, because there's that amount of pressure to perform at a high level and get to the tournament and get to a Final Four and all this other stuff. But listen, man, it's chill. It's absolutely chill in college, man. You get everything at your disposal. You get everything the way you want it. You got the freedom to do whatever, and you're a young guy. You got, listen, the world is your oyster. Might as well enjoy the fruits of that labor and also the money that comes along with it.
All right, we're going to keep talking hoops, but Sue Alexander, the great Erica Day, will be coming in to talk and give us the latest tea. By the way, she was reached out to by a very prominent Twitter person yesterday looking for info. That's how you know that Erica Day has made it big and only making it even bigger. All right, Nick Arenas, and real quick, I don't have any problem with this. Tacario Davis has done everything the coaching staff has wanted from him. They've been totally cool with him. His teammates have been cool with him. If it's good enough for the coaches, good enough for the teammates, then it's good enough for me at this point. That's where I'm at.
1,000,000%. Like, listen, this is his own process. Let him handle it however he wants to. I do feel like if he would have left, he'd have left by now. I think maybe he was just trying to feel things out. And I mean, it's probably a good sign that everybody feels pretty good about where he's at. So we move on.
All right, now back to basketball in just a second. Bruno Fina. All right, I like Bruno Fina. I like John Fina a great deal. Bruno Fina, I'm just going to be honest with you here, is not the greatest lineman in the world. I think Arizona's probably looking a little bit above Bruno Fina. He didn't grade out very well at UCLA. We'll keep that. His little brother Roman just got an offer, though, the other day, so we will certainly keep you up to date on that. All right, Jaden Bradley was in the early NBA draft entries as well. I like this as well. Now Jaden Bradley, I have no doubt, is coming back to the U of A, but again, he's not going to get invited to anything, but I'm totally cool with this as well, Saul. Get your feedback. They're going to tell you need to shoot more. You need to be able to, they want to see you in first year as a starter. It surprised me, but I'm all right with it.
On this end of the table, you will never hear me complain about a player trying to test the waters in the NBA. You got to do what you got to do. And a lot of these guys, they're trying to reach their lifelong dreams. So I'm cool with it. Jaden Bradley's he's definitely got the defensive ability to play in the league. I would say that right now. But it's the other things that are going to hold him back. Kind of like a Dalen Terry, where he wasn't like the most prolific scorer or offensive player, but his defense he could hold up, and he struggled when he got to Chicago until the end of this year. He started getting a lot more run and really was made some crucial plays down the stretch for them in the play-in games and stuff like that. So there's an opportunity there, but I think the opportunity is for Jaden to come back and excel on the offensive side of the ball to match up with his defensive side. Then I think he could be, a late first round pick if he does it right.
I very much like Jaden Bradley, and I really like players like Jaden Bradley as we transition into the Big 12. We were going to get your thoughts on Tobe Awaka here in a minute, but then KJ Lewis, the great Saul Bookman says there is nothing to worry about with KJ Lewis. He will be back at the U of A.
I did not say that.
You did say that last time.
I did not say that. I said I have no problem with him testing the waters, Mike.
You don't think I can find a timestamp where Saul Bookman said he'll be back?
This dude,
Saul, you sure?
I feel good that he's going to come back.
Okay.
But I didn't guarantee he would come back. I don't guarantee anybody would come back.
All right.
Go find the guarantee, Mike. Go find the guarantee.
I will find the guarantee. And then maybe when I'm proven right, guess what? I want a free bag of one of those Circle K chips. Deal?
Oh, you got it.
Okay.
You got it. All you got to do is come up here and get it.
Maybe two. That's all. You know what? That's a fair deal. Gas for chips. That's where we're at. Now, KJ Lewis, though, I think it's going to be the same thing. Now, I do think that he's got more NBA upside than the other two, but test the waters, see where everything is at. He's obviously on that list. These guys got a couple months. Check it out.
Athleticism is a dime a dozen in the NBA. Can we agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. No doubt.
Unless you have got freak measurables to go along with that athleticism that make you a guaranteed first round pick, I don't see why, if you're KJ Lewis, you would bother going to the NBA only to be, fostered away into the G League for a period of time. Like, listen, man, guys that go to the G League, again, you're playing a dangerous game. You might not make it out of the G League. And there's been plenty of guys like that. Look at Nico Mannion. He was supposed to be the surefire prospect, and he could never really find a good fit. And now he's just toiling right away in the G League and trying to find his way. So you don't want to be that guy. Don't rush yourself, especially with the money that's coming to you in NIL. Don't rush.
Yes.
Go.
All right, now we are going to get back to some basketball, but first we need to talk about a little bit of football. But first, I do need to talk to you about Circle K, Saul. So I got 3 of these gallon jugs. I decided I was going to say that I don't want my workout. I am going to go to Circle K and get the workout and get good purified water in the meantime. And guess what? I did. I noticed those chips as well. Guess what else chips they had? They had a Waka Flocka chip with, that guy's name on it in there as well. The wrapper. They had those wrapper chips as well at Circle K. Check out Circle K. Saul, when was the last time you went to Circle K?
This morning to get some gas.
Well, duh, dude.
Because I'm part of the inner circle and I save money.
I need you to do me a favor, though. If you see one of those inner circle hats, you take a picture, though. Deal?
Okay.
Because
Deal.
they're down here. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. And the Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Saul Bookman, have you been there lately?
Yeah, we were there on a Friday. It was a fantastic time. We had about 50 people watching the Suns game. It's a good time all the way around. You got to check it out. Gila River Resorts and Casinos, especially like Wild Horse Pass, Vikiva, Santan, and they have one other one, like Lone Butte. Yeah, all 4 casinos are fantastic. You can't go wrong with going to Gila River Resorts and Casinos.
You can literally walk to the Gila River Resorts and Casinos from where you live. This is true.
Yes. The Santan
have you ever
location.
done this?
I have not.
All right. Well, either way,
you get a go-kart though.
You get a go-kart. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You may run into the great Saul Bookman there. Visit playatgila.com for more details. A fun and authentic immersive experience. All right. Arizona football. Let's talk about the scrimmage a little bit and what Arizona needs. Here, Noah Fafita, Saul, looked absolutely fantastic. I have no doubt that Noah Fafita is going to have an amazing year. Now, I know there's some people that might prefer Jaden Rashada. I know that they are out there. I do not agree with these people that prefer Jaden Rashada over Noah Fafita. But
who?
You might employ one of them.
Who? I don't know who Jaden Rashada is.
Oh, okay.
Did he play last year?
I see what you're doing there.
There you go.
That was funny, Saul. Sometimes I'm a little slow, but that was very, very funny. But the offensive line is going to have to be better. Now, what I do like about Brent Brennan is he's bringing in guys. So you had a guy from Oregon coming in, Michael Wooten, Oregon transfer. And people say this all the time. They're like, well, you can't really, what can you really judge if you didn't play at Oregon or whatever? Oregon is a different animal than Arizona. This is with all due respect to Arizona. We need to get to this point, but sometimes guys that aren't quite good enough at a certain school can be exactly what you need. The problem with the offensive line right now is this. It's you got a lot of injuries and you got 2 guys that are clearly above average starters. Jonas Savanea is going to be a first-round pick and Wendell Moy. We're going to get to those first-round picks there in a minute. But Arizona's got to get bigger on the offensive line and on the defensive line, more depth. Saul, stop me if you've heard this before when you were going to the U of
A. Yeah, rinse and repeat. But, listen, you could tell that they're active right now. They're trying to shore up some loose ends. They're in the portal trying to get some guys immediately because that portal's about to close up.
Yeah.
And so, listen, those are great signings right now. You got the wide receiver from Old Dominion, and then obviously the tackle from Oregon. And so, listen, you got to bolster things quickly because if you don't, you don't really have another opportunity. So.
Right. Exactly. Now, Jacob Franklin, can you put up this picture of I got to hang out with a lot of the parents.
I got distracted. Give me like 5 minutes to get that photo.
All right. That's fine.
Can I address something in the chat while we're here?
Of course.
Kobe says your Phoenix bums should hire Becky Hammond, to which Erica is in the chat saying the Suns will not be hiring Becky. She's a women's coach. Thank you very much. I just happen to be wearing a Becky Hammond shirt today because she should be the next coach of the Suns.
Saul, are you pushing that movement now?
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I'm on the Becky Hammond train right now.
I got beat up on Twitter. I said that the Kentucky Wildcats should have picked Don Staley as their next coach.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't see why we're at that. Listen, I understand there are certain things that are taboo 15 years ago to discuss. I don't understand why these things are taboo now. We had the same thing. I mean, just look at it this way. There was a time and place when Warren Moon had to go to Canada to play quarterback for obvious reasons, and then we look back at it now and it's like, well, yeah, that was stupid. I'm just saying, I think there's going to be a time. If you're a basketball mind, you're a basketball mind. And the fact is too, that Greg Popovich signs off on her. I don't know what else you need. Honestly, I would be more than okay with this.
Also, do you think I give a shit about the Las Vegas Aces right now? No, I'm a Merc fan. So if we can steal their coach and give it to our Suns and destroy their franchise, I'm okay with that because I want the Merc to win the championship. I don't care about Las Vegas.
Do you have anybody covering the Merc by any chance?
We actually do. We have Erica Day and Stephen Garner. Both of them will be covering the Merc this season.
There we go. Very, very exciting news. All right, now we want to talk a little bit about Romello Murphy, wide receiver from Old Dominion. Now, this is pretty cool. Les Fafita. Everybody out there should follow Les Fafita on Twitter. He was at the game, by the way, my guy, Les Fafita. And he basically says that he's a guy that generally has his ear to the streets, as the kids would say. And he's never half stepping with some of these tweets. And so
there ain't no half stepping.
There ain't no half stepping, man. I'm just saying, man, when you're on the east side of Long Beach, there's no half stepping. You know how we roll. But he said that, he said, watch out for this guy. He's known Romello Murphy for quite a while. And listen, I know he's at Old Dominion. He caught 500 yards, a few touchdowns last year. If he's good enough for Les Fafita, if Les Fafita says, watch out for this guy, I say we should all sign up because Les Fafita has certainly done enough for the University of Arizona football program, Saul Bookman.
Agreed. Listen, I don't know what this kid is going to bring to the table. You can go look at YouTube highlights if you can find them, because Old Dominion, not exactly the most prolific program out there in the football spaces. But if Les Fafita feels on board with it, and there's other coaches on that staff that feel like he can provide something and bring something to the table, cool. Because you just lost another wide receiver yesterday as well. Mike, the name?
Kevin Green.
Kevin Green, that's right.
Very sad about the Kevin Green loss. I like Kevin Green, great family, had his pops on the show. But there's a good way. Here's you can always tell. When a kid leaves a program, Kevin Green and his father, they put out a very, very nice, very nice tweet saying that they thanking Tucson for their time here. Obviously didn't quite work out, but they said nothing but love for the community. That's how you do things like that.
Yes, 1,000,000%. You don't throw shade.
Here's the thing, and I've never understood why people do this when you burn bridges for no reason. Because sometimes things just don't work out. For whatever reason, sometimes things just don't work out. But you know what? Your paths might cross again. Or you might come across somebody that was like, man, that was a really classy tweet that Kevin Green put out there.
Right.
I'm buddies with Brent Brennan. I'm going to call Brent Brennan and see what kind of dude he was, or things like that. That's how you do things like that. Well, Kevin Green, wish him nothing but the best. But
there's also this other perspective. Like, if you go out and you try to burn the bridge and you try to set the world on fire behind you, what do you think other schools are going to look at when they're seeing you do that, and what their impression of you will be? Like, do they even want to talk to you at that point? Right. Unless you're like some unbelievable first round top 5 talent. Like, you got to be careful about that. There's got to be some class when you leave a program, or even for us normal people, if we get fired or laid off or whatever, like, don't blow it all up because people are watching. And if you want to try and get another employer to hire you, you're going to want to make sure your P's and Q's are covered.
There's a reason Cormani McClain has not gotten nearly the love in the portal that I think a lot of people thought that he was going to get, including, I'm just saying, sometimes you just need to be a little bit careful with those things. That's all I'm saying.
Also, for those of you that are asking, the transfer portal does close tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m.
Right, exactly. So we will obviously keep you up to date on that. But people need to remember this, Saul. And I get a lot of people that say they don't understand this. Once you enter the portal, you can be in there forever. You've just got to be in the portal. I didn't actually know that for the longest time either. I thought that, you had to be out or whatever. I was talking with Spears about this a couple months ago. And so you can basically go into the portal and you can just stay in there for eternity if you want to. So, that's basically the way it is. But a lot of these guys will put a no contact clause on there, which our guy Tacario Davis has. By the way, Saul Bookman, Arizona, first round pick, Jordan Morgan from Marana. 2 years in a row, kids from Tucson have become first round picks. Very, very cool. But
very cool. I
tell you that so I can tell you this. Pro Football Focus now has their mock draft for next year. 3. It's almost like Saul Bookman saw this already. Very, very cool. Tacario Davis is at 16. T-Mac is at 12. And Jonas Avenea is at 31. Saul, it is bizarre. And again, even though we don't like how Fish left, I'm always going to give him this. The upgrade in talent at this program from here is being able to watch the NFL draft and saying, oh man, they should choose our guy right here. It's been decades since I was able to do that.
Yeah. And just imagine if, we get a couple additions in the portal somehow, some way, and things start to move around. Like, you never know who else we're going to add to the program that could also be on that list at some point. So, and then the development of the other players on this roster, who knows who's going to step up, who's going to develop at a high level that nobody really saw coming. That kind of stuff always happens. And you're talking about first round picks. That's not even talking about, picks second, third, fourth, all the way to 7th round picks. There's still other guys on this squad that can absolutely get drafted next year. And so, I look at like a Traden Stukes and his abilities. He would be able to definitely play in the league because he's just a hard worker and he's developed increasingly since his days here in Phoenix. So I mean, this program's in a really good position. Brent Brennan's opportunity right now is to not let that fail and add to it. And if he does that, then I feel like this program's going to find a little self-sustainability as we move forward because, listen, the program, the family, the environment, the culture, it's starting to speak for itself. And if you can carry that through to success, it's a home run through and through.
All right, a guy on the staff told me this a while back, and he said, people, and Nicholas Ibarra, you're exactly right. But a guy on the staff said to me, he said, listen, people need to understand that the days of looking at your roster and saying that that's set, your roster's set August 1st. Until then, you are continuously recruiting. There is no other way around it. And it wasn't like this was some inside information he was giving me or something. He was just saying, listen, everybody is having to scour that portal. And once August 1st hits, then you got a pretty good idea of who's going to be on your roster. But until then, no. Now, real quick, Joseph asking about KG. Here's the deal with KG. I don't know that I necessarily agree with the staff, but there's a reason that I'm sitting here in my guest room talking and that they're making millions of dollars doing this. So take it for what it's worth. But they really like Montana Lamonius Craig. They're big fans of him. Bobby Wade likes him a lot. That was really, he wasn't going to beat him out. It didn't look like it. That's kind of where it just goes from there. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, just kind of saying that's where everything is. But Saul, let's talk a little bit though about
before you do that.
Yeah,
do you see? I mean, I know we talked about the offensive line, which is probably one of the more important positions that they need to find somebody here in the next day or two to shore up. But is there any other position group that you think that they're going to attack to try and shore up? And do you think KG leaving might open up a spot for another receiver somewhere around the country to come in as well?
There could be another receiver visiting, but that's all I can really say. I'm not exactly sure. No guarantees. Nobody hold that out to me. But we need to talk, yes, Mr. Tyler Warden, the great Tyler Warden. We need to talk about two positions, Saul Bookman. Very good question, Saul Bookman. The defensive line. Okay. One thing, and I'm going to be, and by the way, the last 5 minutes of the show, I've had so many people that have want you to talk about the Suns. So the last 5 minutes of the show is going to be totally dedicated to Saul Bookman and the Suns. GM Saul Bookman. Last time we got you to say that you would become the AD at ASU if they offered. You would also become the GM of the Suns if they offered. This is true.
Yes, 1,000,000%. No, okay. I don't know, man. AD at ASU feels like it comes with very low expectations.
So only go up from
there. It's like stealing money. Now, being the GM of the Suns, that comes with a lot of pressure. I might only have a gig for about a year and a half, and then I might be on the streets. So, but the paycheck will be worth it. That's the only reason why, folks, that I said I would be the ASU AD is because I would love $1 million paycheck every year. Why not?
Exactly.
I mean, they gave it to Herm for nothing. They gave it to Ray Anderson for nothing. Give it to me for nothing.
$4 million for Herm to just go away. Talk about a guy. If you can't fire Herm Edwards with cause, then you can't fire anybody with cause. I mean, that's kind of the way I'm at this point. But yes, on the defensive line, though, the D tackles, I think they feel pretty good about because you got to remember they added Bear Anderson from Memphis, who they really like, played a lot as a freshman last year. You've also got, you've also got Kevon Darton coming in. All ACC player from Syracuse. He's probably going to push to start. Chuba May, Isaiah Johnson. That's going to be a nice little quartet. And keep in mind, that was something that Arizona did last year that I think was a really underrated part of their defense is they could keep people coming in and out. Now, the defensive end, that's where they've got to address, in my opinion. They love Tai Uiagalelei and Trey Smith. By the way, I hung out with Trey Smith on Saturday. I said, hello, Trey Smith, if you're watching the show. But those two guys are going to be the starters, but you need some, and a coach told me this, he's like, we need some guys with some more bend, which basically means that you need a few more dudes that are explosive off the edge and, get in line because there's 10,000 different teams that need that. But defensive end, getting depth there, and Mr. Tyler Warden, corner is a very, very big need because like you said, Traden Stukes is the man, Tacario Davis, but we're also going into a spot where you're going to see a lot of 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. You need to be able to get depth because think about it, Saul. Another thing that made Arizona so good last year was that you had Price Hawk, you had Tacario Davis, you have 2 6'3" corners on the outside, and then by the way, you got one of the best nickelbacks in the country on the inside. You got to be able to replace Ephesians Price Hawk on the outside. Those are the two big positions outside of the O-line, Saul Bookman.
1,000,000%. It really sucks that we did lose Price Hawk. I think that was probably the more damaging of any of the transfers out, in my opinion, because he would have been on that PFF list. He would have been in that top 32. And on top of that, it's just a gaping hole. So who do you get to fill that? I don't think Traden Stukes is really quite the answer because I feel like he's kind of a hybrid cornerback safety.
They want him on the inside. And that's one of those things too. Exactly. I can say with great authority, don't take away for what, and I'm not saying you're saying this obviously, but don't take away what somebody does really, really well by just trying to fit another. It's there, like a coach said, it's our job to be able to find somebody at this position. We know exactly what he can do here. We want to keep him right there. Yeah.
I think if you don't find somebody on the edge that you can rely on, then you're going to just have to be more creative with your blitz packages and, and personnel. Obviously that's a no brainer. I'm saying something that's super obvious, but they are going to have to shore that up. The cornerback position to me is more prevalent than the edge, just because if you look around the Big 12, what do they like to do? Everybody loves to air it out. Everybody loves to go 4 or 5 wide. Everybody likes to just run and gun. And so it's very rare that you face a team. There's only like maybe 2 or 3 in the conference, Kansas State being one of them, where they will slow it down. They'll try to out scheme you, but based off of their personnel, they like to go a lot of 2 tight end sets, 2 wide, 1 running back. So they've got a lot of thump back there. That's one example. But you look around the country, Texas Tech ain't playing it like that. You know what I mean? Kansas ain't playing it like that. Like all these other teams in the Big 12 don't really play like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they maneuver the portal and how much focus they're really paying attention to that secondary, because they're going to need as many DBs as possible to really help them throughout the season.
Joseph, great question. Sometimes the grass isn't always greener or wetter on the other side. He's been running with the 2s for most of the spring, as has Isaiah Ward as well, starters at the U of A. Something is certainly certainly keep in mind. Now, another thing that should never leave your mind is the BetMGM Sportsbook app. Listen, I can tell you with great authority that Saul Bookman thinks about the BetMGM Sportsbook app nonstop. When you're the head boss of an organization and you're saying, man, all right, here's the deal. Let me ask you this, Saul. Has there been a day since you've taken this job, since we transitioned to BetMGM, that you haven't thought about the BetMGM Sportsbook app? Be honest.
Not one single day.
I'm telling you, and joking, a lot of people think that I think that I'm joking about stuff. I am not joking about this. I would venture a guess that BetMGM Sportsbook app has crossed your mind every single day, as it should. And I tell you this to tell you that. Listen, when you're the best free throw shooter in Arizona high school history, when you're the boss of PHNX and you're thinking about things, if it's good enough for Saul Bookman, then it's certainly good enough for everybody else out there. The BetMGM Sportsbook app. Also, Saul Bookman, listen to this. I've got something else to tell you about the BetMGM Sportsbook app. You want to know about a good little deal they got going?
Let's go.
If you sign up for the BetMGM Sportsbook app and use code word, what's the code word?
PHNX.
Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the mobile app for at least $10, and you will receive $1,500 in bonus bets if the bet loses. Now, check out the show notes for details. You might know this guy with the disclaimer. Real quick.
Bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
All right. Can I address something real quick?
You can.
Two things. First of all, if you're cool about it and you maybe wait a week before you get onto the BetMGM Sportsbook app, we might have something really, really cool. If you've never downloaded it and you've never deposited money, we might have something really, really cool that you can really take your time to actually put your money into. And I'll just say it's a pretty big thing. So stay tuned for that. Number 2.
It's called a tease.
We got to stop this. There's people in the chat that are talking about, like, if you're from Tucson and you root for anything in Phoenix, like, your head kind of thing. Okay, I grew up in Tempe and I love Tucson and I love the U of A. I do not like ASU without a doubt. Okay, But that doesn't mean that I'm going to alienate all the other teams that have nothing to do with ASU, like zero. All right. So you can still root for the Cardinals. You can still root for the Mercury. You can root for the Suns, and you should. Because what PHNX is all about is about Arizona teams, Arizona sports teams. That's it. That's what we do. We build communities across this great state, and we want everybody to come together and celebrate in a nice little community gathering. So don't hate, celebrate the Arizona teams that you have. Don't be a fair weather fan and go pick a team from around the country when there's one right up the street from you, okay? We don't need Cowboys fans. We don't need Lakers fans. We need Suns and Cardinals fans. So come on, back the A all over the state.
By the way, you want to know my most exciting pro sports moment in history, Saul?
What is that?
This is going to feed right into what you're saying. When Charles Barkley was traded to the Phoenix Suns, I tell people this all the time, and you're obviously a little bit older than me. I cannot describe to people, because I've always felt that the Phoenix Suns is the most underrated fan base in the entire country when it comes to the NBA. I don't even think it's close. It is a diehard fan base. Now, no, they might drive you up a wall at sometimes, but they are there. It's a good fan base. But man, when Charles Barkley, when he touched down in Phoenix, it was like Elvis had touched down. I mean, it was just something that I can't really. So like when people are like I think I don't know if it was Kobe or if it was somebody. I'm going to say it was Kobe just because I like picking on Kobe. But Kobe was like, well, is it comparable to when KD came? It's not. Charles Barkley, you got to remember too, Charles Barkley was the second best player in the world at that time behind MJ. And he was a bigger than life personality. It was just a really cool time. Plus, I got to go to Dan Marley's restaurant as well, like right in there. Is Marley still there, by the way?
Yes, he is.
Oh, it is. Yes. Okay. Very, very good. And Charles Barkley also picks Arizona to win every single NCAA tournament game. So we like that.
Nicholas Ibarra says 99% of Tucsonans don't support Arizona sports because they suck. We can only take so much heartache. Listen, man, did you know? Here's an interesting fact for you, okay? Did you know that loneliness, and this is a measured statistic out there, and I can find the actual data in specifically, right? But loneliness and isolation has increased by almost 15% since the beginning of the 2000s to right now. And one of the only avenues where you can actually have a human connection is sports.
Right.
So don't think about it like, oh, it's heartache and stuff like that, but because sports gives you something to always look forward to. And it might be depressing when your team loses, but guess what? You turn right back around, and what are you doing? You're thinking about the future. How can we get better? You're being optimistic about the moves that your team can make. And more importantly, you get to come together as a community. Because as soon as you see somebody wearing another U of A shirt, how many times, if you've traveled, I've gone to Disneyland a million times. I can't count how many times I've seen somebody in a U of A hat or a hoodie or whatever, and then we cross paths because I'm wearing something that's similar, and we're like, oh, bear down, go Cats. That's it. Like, it's a communal thing, and that's what we're trying to do here. So don't shit on the Phoenix teams. Embrace them, and you might not like it. That's cool. That's fine. But just remember, they're always here for you.
ASU is the exception, though.
ASU is absolutely the exception. We don't care about them.
By the way, GCU, I do root for GCU just because for a variety of reasons, but I root for GCU. I also will say that I think people in this state, listen, nobody likes sports more than me, but I think people take sports way too seriously to a certain degree. And that I love bantering. I love going back and forth with fan bases, but at the end of the day, it's all fun, man. It's not a big deal. I think people need to remember that. There's no reason to cry. And again, here's the thing. We signed up for the backing the A. Nobody forced us to back the A. We chose the A on our own, Saul Bookman.
That's right.
And we would not trade it for anything else in the world. It is a very, very much of a privilege. Speaking of else in the world, the great Erica L. Day is joining us now. Hello, Erica L. Day. How are you?
Hey, squad. I'm good. How are you?
All right. Sue Alexander.
What's going on, Erica? How's it going?
No. You want to see my shirt? Farewell to the...
All right. Sue Alexander, one of our favorite people. Sue is very upset. By the way, Erica, we've gone from 149 to 157, the second that you hit right there. You talk about ratings. But
I know.
Erica, all right. Erica squad here. Talk with Sue. Let's settle. Sue is very rambunctious this late morning. Let's talk about Sue's concerns.
Sue is a little PO'd, and I don't blame her. Sue is rightfully mad because Adia Barnes has not gotten us a backup center that we're satisfied with yet. She has 13 scholarship spots filled out, and we're looking for the 14th to be a backup center behind Brea Cunningham. And just like Mike was talking a little bit about earlier, Sue, just because the portal closes tomorrow at midnight does not mean that the athletes have to decide where they are going at midnight. So give them a little time. I don't think that they are doing nothing. They're not just sitting there. Just like everyone thinks that Brent Brennan is doing nothing, Adia Barnes, I assure you, is not doing nothing regarding recruiting that backup center.
All right. What else you got for us, Erica? I know you've got, here's the thing that we know about Erica L. Day that is very, very true. Erica's always got her ears to the streets. Now, I joke about myself having ears to the streets. Erica L. Day is hanging out with these people in hashtag real time. So let's talk a little bit about, what you look at this roster. What would you be looking forward to for the next month or so, possibly? Go ahead.
Oh, no. First of all, I do think that we're going to start to see a little bit of a class of 2025 recruits kind of decide where they're going. So we have Aaliyah Chavez, who is a #1 recruit in class of 2025 that we made her top 10. So I do think we're going to get some clarity there on whether or not she's going to give us a little bit more of an opportunity. Maybe she releases a top 5. And then another player I'm really looking at to see where she's going is Destiny Jackson. She came from the same high school that our point guard Skylar Jones came from in Chicago. And I think that it would be a really good fit in terms of long-term roster building. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if we make her, top 10 or whatever she decides to do.
All right. Saul, now, we talked about this last time, and I had a couple people I wanted next. I think you need, because you were boots on the ground. You were the front line. So the people that beat up Adia, please just explain again, because I thought it was a very, very good segment that you had last time when you were there front row during the previous era where you're like, ooh, this is not going to be a good game, but we're going to be here to support the team.
Are you asking me?
Yes, I am asking.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Very good segment. And sometimes we go back to the well. That was a very good one.
No, you talking about the Nia Butts era?
Yes.
Yeah, and how awfully tragic that was, and how there was like maybe 100 people in the stands, and those were true diehards that supported this team, even though the girls didn't, or the women did not give a damn about playing basketball at all in that last year. That was terrible. I have never, ever seen a team as lethargic, as careless, as just complacent as all hell as that one. And I couldn't believe that was a college basketball team. The way they just rolled it out and just walked out, I was just like, wow, yeah, this coach has got to go. And so when Adia came in, I wasn't surprised she was able to, to me, Adia's best job wasn't the national championship run. It wasn't last year. It was her first season, because she had nothing to work with. And 3 of the 4 freshmen that she brought in all transferred out within a year. And the only one that was left was Sam Thomas.
Right.
And so it was just unbelievable what Adia was able to pull off with that squad. Man, the only one that I would say I will not bag on, because I do think that she was the only one that I felt like gave effort every single game relentlessly, was LaBrittany Jones. LaBrittany Jones balled. She tried her ass off, but she was basically the only good player that they had at the moment. Sam was still a freshman. She was still very raw. She got a lot of playing time, but she was still trying to learn the college game. So hopefully, as Adia moves forward, listen, the baseline has already been raised. Like the floor is higher than it's ever been for this program. I think that's why you see some of the feedback, because I honestly think that the more feedback that you get and the more chirping you get on Twitter and, more disagreements on Twitter about your program means that the expectations are going up. Because I guarantee you 8 years ago, when I was in school, not a damn person was talking about the women's basketball team, right? Not a single one. And now it's a common topic, which is great. That's what we want. And so growing the game is fantastic, and she's doing a good job of doing that.
All right, I'll give you an idea too. Growing up with Joan Bonvicini, who did a very good job here, but with Joan, basically you knew that every I don't know. I might be wrong on this, but about every third or fourth year, you knew that you would probably get into the NCAA tournament. But, it wasn't like it was, embarrassing or anything. We're to the point now where it's like, all right, we want to get back. We know we're going to get into the NCAA tournament or we're going to be around there. We want to win some games. People need to remember that. We've talked about some very, very tough eras. So, again, I believe that Adia Barnes should be able to be here as long as she wants. Now, Antonio,
maybe we should try and get her on the show.
I would be okay with that. I would be more than okay. I've tried in the past, but
I'll work on that.
I was going to say maybe the email got lost in the mail. Who knows?
email.
The email lost in the mail. Okay, now
Toby just has to be nice in the comments if she comes on the show.
Okay, yes. Now
Everyone just has to be
a lot
polite.
of people complain. Now it's not all peaches and cream. So not like OG's reference right there. The fruits and the creams. But all right. Now we need to talk a little bit though about it because she's a very, very good Saul. This is what you sign up for when you come on the PHNX Wildcats show. But we need to talk a little bit about the offense though, because sometimes it can be pretty difficult to watch. Again, Adia Barnes, a very good coach. I've said many times I want her here for as long as she wants to be here. But what can we do to make the offense maybe a little bit more enticing?
Last year you kind of heard her talk about how all the people in the program are new and it's difficult to teach the level of offense that she was looking to teach. So the girls that were out there only knew like 4 plays and they just kept running the same. You could see it. They were just out there doing the same thing over and over again and hoping it worked out. So I'm hoping with the continuity of the roster from last year, we're able to kind of learn a little bit more, build some chemistry above all else, and just kind of build the offense out from there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The one thing that I felt like was kind of a little bit of a knock on Adia in terms of her scheme was it is a little bit too repetitive. That's been a trait since she's been here.
Right.
And now luckily she's had some really good players to be able to, basically be able to dominate no matter what, especially when you're talking about Aerie. So when you're looking at this team and the development and because of the influx of talent that's come in and out, it is hard, like Erica said, to develop the offensive side of the ball. Defense is a little easier because you're just talking about connectivity and then zone or man scheme and you go from there. But offensively, they do have to be a little bit more prolific. They got to be a little bit more versatile, and they got to be a little bit more creative in some of the sets that they run. I think some of their out of bounds sets are it's a little too elementary, but that's also because of the lack of continuity. So hopefully that improves.
Now, real quick, Adia Barnes is an OG from Tucson. Saul Bookman, what can you tell me about OGs?
OGs is the best edible in the game. I mean, come on. What do we? You know what it is. You can get 100 milligram.
Confidence that Saul says this too. I love it, man. This is just reeks of confidence. It's awesome.
100 milligram bags, 10 milligrams each piece. You can get any type of flavor. They got the fruits, the creams, as Mike I was about to call you Magic, as Magic mentioned, Magic Mike. There it is. And so, but they got the strawberries and cream. They got the peaches and cream, as he mentioned. But my favorite is the RSOs, and that's the Rick Simpson oils. It's blended into the actual gummy, and it just really takes the edge off. If you got a little bit of some aches and pains, maybe you worked out really hard in the morning and you just want to get a good night's sleep, and you pop one of those things in a couple hours before you go to bed, and you'll be nice and relaxed, and you'll be off to La La Land. So and then not to mention they have the Sleepy Time gummy. So if you want to partake in some of this, just go to ogsbrands.com, find the closest dispensary to you, and remember, you must be 21 years of age and older to enjoy.
True story. When we were in Vegas, the great Erica Day and the great Ben One White participated with the fruits and the creams as well. Very, very good. Though, geez, this thing knows no borders, and it's local, Saul Bookman. This is true.
Tucson's own.
There you go. So again, by the way, for everybody out there, when I am going to the store today, I am going to be buying some greens. I will take a picture of this. I'm getting multiple people asking me about this, so I will take a picture of the greens for you. But
we're talking about fruits and vegetables, right? We're not talking about.
Sorry. Yeah, it just got me thinking.
I thought you were eating an apple on the show today.
I'm not gonna eat the apple on the show, but
he didn't say it was gonna be on the show. He did say he was gonna eat one though.
I'll eat the apple.
I'm excited to see what kind of apple it's going to be. I placed a bet on this.
All right. Well, you're about to find it. You know what? That's called. A great magician never reveals his secrets. So that's going to be the case here. Now, real quick, and then we're going to get Saul has been asked to lay down the gauntlet on what the deal is with the Phoenix Suns. But first, a picture of me and Fam Very, very cool. Got to hang out with a lot of the parents this past weekend. Very, very cool. Jacob Franklin, please pull this picture up right now. You said
I was looking right at him. I was like, "You gonna pull this photo up?"
all right, look at this. Now, one of these guys has a Division I football player's son, and the other is a dweeb. I'm going to let you guys choose which one is which. But either way, very cool to meet fam. And got to hang out. We got to drink. Erica Day and I got to drink with the great Tony Jones, AJ Jones' father, as well at Bob Dobbs. It's a community environment here. And get a load of this. You know the rapper Boozy, Saul Bookman.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony Jones, and I don't think he'll mind us saying this because this is on public record, was his probation officer in Atlanta, Georgia. And here's the best part about it. So we kind of looked at it and we're like, all right, that's interesting. And then he showed the Vlad TV interview to us where Boozy is talking about his PO officer or his PO, Mr. Jones, who was just been great to him. It was a very, very interesting experience.
Wow.
I was, yes, you never know who you rub elbows with in the dirty tea. Who's going to know who?
You never know what you're going to talk about on this show, I swear.
That is very, very true. We got Boozy. We've got taking pictures of vegetables at Fry's, and we've got the great Tony Jones in the last minute. Now, I say that to tell you this. Saul Bookman, we need your take on the Phoenix Suns, your beloved Phoenix Suns, the show that everybody watches, the PHNX Suns show. We need to know what happened with the Suns and where would GM Saul Bookman go from here?
Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot. There's one move I would make, but I'm not going to say it on this show, and I probably won't say it on the Suns show.
Drew Eubanks. Let's be honest.
I really don't want the whole pitchfork, Stan clan to come after me. So listen, man, they were a dumpster fire to start with because they had no organization, they had no leadership, and they had no chemistry. Point blank. And injuries be damned. You got more than 40 games with the big three. They had to play better. They didn't play better. And when you have three superstars or quote unquote superstars like you have, they got to find a way to make it all work. And that's where the leadership fell flat on its face. And I know Frank Vogel's probably going to take the fall for that, but he should, because it is his responsibility to make sure that everything is, copacetic and things are moving in the right direction. And when you have players kind of laughing at a coach because he throws a tirade in a locker room towards the end of the season and people are trying to stop from laughing, that tells me that they don't really respect his authority or his leadership. So you got to move in a different direction. I'm sure that's what's going to be announced tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see if there's a press conference, but overall there's some moves that can be made, but it's not going to be easy. You got to find some gullible teams out there that are wanting to take a risk on some of these salaries. But I think there is a path to get better. And I also see a path where the big three stay together, but they shore up things in a different kind of way. And maybe the coaching staff is all that needs to be changed. We'll see, but there's going to be a lot to be determined over the course of the next summer.
Brad Beal's contract. Can you get anybody that wants that? Is this something that the Suns want to run back again? Because that was obviously the huge news of the offseason. What's the deal there?
I think it's a needle in the haystack if you're able to convince a team to take Brad Beal's contract. He's got 3 years left at $50+ million per year. Even if you waive and stretch him, you're still owing him somewhere between $25 and $30 million a year. That's going to be really, really, really tough for a team to take on. So you probably got to swallow that one. You're not going to trade Booker. You're going to keep KD, or you can trade KD. He's probably the one asset that you do have that you might be able to trade just because of value and really age. Like KD's, 30, he'll be 36 before the next season starts. So you're not going to trade a 27-year-old Devin Booker in lieu of that. So you got to build around somebody. It's going to be Devin Booker, and you got to hope that everything else works out if you do make a trade. But they do have a draft pick, and regardless of what everybody else says, they do have draft picks in every other year in the first round. They just have pick swaps that go along with them, but they do own, draft picks in those rounds. So it's going to be okay.
Is there a way that we can finesse Bol into the starting lineup?
I don't care about the starting lineup, but he needed to play a lot more than he did, and it was a travesty that he didn't. He's a good player, and I don't know what Frank Vogel was doing.
I came around on Bol. I thought he was
same.
When I first saw him, I'm like, dude, I'm done. I think you might have tweeted this. Maybe it was you or Espo. Something about the Bol experience, or something like that. Yeah. I came around saying, is he perfect? No. But he is a productive player. he can do some things off the bench. Now, the Shaquille O'Neal comparing him to Wemby stuff is stupid, but I like Bol. I would like to see a future with Bol. But you know what? I know that I'm going to see with the Phoenix Mercury, a future with Erica L. Day. So before we sign off real quick, where do we, what do we got in the hopper?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Erica Lee Day, LEA. And then also I will be covering the Phoenix Mercury over on PHNX Mercury. So I'm pretty excited to start that pretty sure on Monday. So pretty stoked about that with Mr. Steven Garner. We're going to be having a blast. I'm going to be at pretty much all the Mercury games this week or this year. So
can
if
we get a
you see me,
GoFundMe
say
for your
hi.
air conditioning in your car, though?
I know it's actually such a travesty.
You don't have air conditioning in your car?
Yeah, we got to get it. We got to get this air conditioning fixed.
Saul, you didn't know that?
Erica,
I've been
oh my
torturing
God.
myself.
Jesus,
oh my gosh,
what are we doing here?
Saul.
I might not
know.
ever. You know what? I probably would have never offered you the opportunity to cover the Mercury if I'd known that. That is
It's just broken. It's not that I don't have it. It's just broken, and it breaks every single
I don't want
summer.
to be liable when you have a heat stroke in the middle of your car in the middle of Casa Grande.
Yeah.
I text and drive. You guys will know if something happens to me.
Oh my God.
Erica, we do need to get this fixed, though.
I'm working on it. I really am working on it, especially because they're outlawing the freaking Freon that needs to be put in my car. So I have to get on it
We
real
get a
rapidly.
GoFundMe going for Erica L. Day's air conditioning. That's actually a good idea.
Someone just needs to find me a mechanic that will do it without making me fix a leak, because the leak has been fixed 5 years in a row and it's never fixed, and I'm tired of paying to have it fixed.
Liam Stevens says, Saul, you hired my buddy Hayden a long time ago for PHNX. Yeah, we hired him, and he got an opportunity to cover USA basketball, both the men's and the women's this year. So that's why he's not going to be on the Mercury pod, but he's a phenomenal guy. Super smart kid, knows everything about the W. He's got a huge future in front of him. So we're going to miss him, but we have two talented. This is no disrespect to Hayden, because I was on that show as well, and so was Espo. But this duo is probably the best duo we've had covering the Mercury in our existence. So I'm really excited to see what they have.
When I say passion, I mean passion. By the way, Anthony Totri is in the chat, which means that I am going to pull an executive decision and play this video right now.
Back the A. Back the A. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devil Show.
All right, one more time. Don't call it a remix. Hold on.
Back the A. Back the A. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devil Show.
What is that sexy music?
That's their lost music. It's the lost music after a basketball game.
That's hilarious.
Oh, Anthony Totri. Man. Hey, Totri, what time are you guys going on, by the way? We can send all of their...
2 p.m.
What time?
2 p.m.
2 p.m. Okay.
Why is it always changing? It's hard to keep up with this.
Well, it's 2 p.m. now because the Coyote show is no longer, unfortunately. So they took their time slot.
Okie dokie. Also, let's talk about the keeping it 100, because one thing about Saul Bookman is he keeps it 100 in everything, especially when it comes to golf. Saul Bookman.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it 100 with us.
No, he's under 100.
Next Friday, right now we have 22 foursomes right now. We have room for about 12 more. So come on out, have a great time, shoot the cannon like Trenton Bourget right there, and just have a great time. Listen, man, it's we're gonna give some shirts to everybody's. Gonna get a shirt when they sign up. It's not gonna be a polo like it was last year. But there's a ton of prizes that we have to give away. It's going to be a phenomenal event. The champions, they get these cool GPS speakers, and they're embroidered, and they have all this cool stuff on them. And there's a ton of other giveaways too. So come out. It'll be fun.
All right.
Go to gophnx.com/events to find out more.
One more thing before we sign off, by popular demand.
Back the A. Back the A. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devil Show.
I love it.
All right. We've done good work today here, everybody. Very, very good work. Erica L. Day, you will be on Monday. This is correct?
Yes, and what Kobe said, we need more Arizona diehards. The Wildcats diehard chat is a little bit boring. We need more of you guys to join. I'm always in there now. Me, Kobe are always arguing. You know, you guys enjoy us arguing in the chat. Come watch us argue on Discord.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. Listen, you sign up, you get a free shirt, you get a bunch of hookups, you get a bunch of discounts. We had 2 events for U of A last year. You could have got 20% off on those tickets. We give you food and drink or just about every single event. Like you can't go wrong. Like you're going to get your money back more than what you pay. So join the Go PHNX family, become an Arizona Wildcats diehard, and join the Discord and listen, have fun, join the community.
Appreciate it. All right, Saul Bookman, you'll be back Thursday. This is correct.
I will.
All right, Erica L. Day, you're taking Thursday off. This is also correct.
I'm so sorry, squad. I will not be present on Thursday.
All right, you know what? But Monday you will be back. Hopefully,
back.
I am going to put together my own GoFundMe for the air conditioning. Erica L. Day's air conditioning GoFundMe. But on that note, the boss, Saul Bookman, for the precocious Erica L. Day, I am merely Mike Luke and the great Jacob Franklin behind the scenes. You have been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.